Ferrari cannot afford to wait for the outcome of the controversy surrounding the variable compression ratio of the German power unit. The Maranello teams, engineers, and technicians have confirmed their satisfaction with the new engine, which still needs to pass the definitive and most demanding reliability test in real race conditions. While Formula One continues to wait for a final decision from an increasingly hesitant FIA regarding the controversial issue of Mercedes' variable compression ratio power unit, which is believed to fluctuate dynamically between 1601 and 1801, depending on operating conditions. Ferrari is pushing ahead relentlessly with its own development program. For the team from Maranello, this approach is not merely a strategic choice, but a practical necessity. The Scuderia cannot afford to pause its technical roadmap or rely on a potentially favorable ruling that remains far from guaranteed, especially in such a competitive and tightly regulated era of Formula One. From Ferrari's perspective, allowing external regulatory uncertainty to dictate internal development priorities would represent an unacceptable risk. The modern Formula One environment rewards continuity, preparation, and long-term planning, and the engineers in Maranello are fully aware that lost time is almost impossible to recover once the season gains momentum. As a result, the focus remains firmly on extracting the maximum potential from the existing package, irrespective of how the Mercedes situation eventually unfolds. As documented in recent days, the versions circulating in the paddock are widely conflicting and continue to fuel a growing sense of uncertainty among teams, engineers, and fans alike. On one side of the debate, some sources suggest that a regulatory clampdown could arrive even before the Australian Grand Prix. This could take the form of tighter checks, more invasive inspections, or a technical clarification aimed at restricting or redefining the use of variable compression systems within the current regulatory framework. On the other side, reports emerging from the United Kingdom and likely closer to the Mercedes environment indicate that an immediate intervention by the FIA would not be technically feasible. According to these sources, too many stakeholders would need to reach an agreement in a time frame that no longer exists, especially given the complexity of power unit regulations and the political balance between manufacturers. In this interpretation, the entire issue would be addressed more thoroughly only with an eye on the following season. Once there is sufficient time to introduce clear and universally accepted guidelines, this regulatory stalemate leaves teams and fans in a state of limbo, with speculation often filling the gaps left by official communication. However, it is precisely this type of uncertainty that Ferrari is determined to insulate itself from. The Scuderia's management believes that allowing unresolved regulatory debates to influence development choices would undermine the stability of the project and distract engineers from the core task of performance optimization. On several occasions, Ferrari has reiterated its confidence in the Euro 677 engine, the latest evolution of its power unit, and one that fully complies with the current technical regulations. This confidence is not based on optimism alone, but on a growing body of technical feedback gathered during private testing sessions, simulator work, and early track running. Data collected not only by Ferrari itself, but also through mileage accumulated by customer teams, such as Cadillac and Haas, has contributed to a broader understanding of the engine's characteristics. The first official outings have painted a generally positive picture, highlighting clear improvements, both in terms of peak power output and overall efficiency and energy flow management across different operating windows. The 0677 power unit appears to offer a more refined balance between electrical deployment and internal combustion efficiency, an area that has become increasingly decisive in modern Formula One. Engineers have noted tangible gains in drivability and consistency, two factors that could significantly influence race performance over long stints, especially on circuits that place heavy demands on energy recovery and deployment. However, despite these encouraging signs, some questions remain regarding the overall reliability of the power unit, and these concerns have not yet been completely resolved. The reason lies in the deliberately conservative approach adopted by Ferrari during the early phase of the season. Since the turbo hybrid V6, designed under the direction of Enrico Gol and his technical staff, has not yet been pushed to its absolute operational limits, either in qualifying simulations or extended race-based simulations, the available data set remains incomplete. Ferrari has avoided aggressive engine modes and extreme calibration settings, preferring instead to prioritize data gathering and component preservation. As a result, while initial indicators are positive. The full picture regarding the engine's ability to withstand peak thermal and mechanical stresses over an entire race weekend is still emerging. This cautious methodology reflects a broader philosophy within the team, shaped by lessons learned in recent seasons. Ferrari is acutely aware that raw performance gains are meaningless if they come at the expense of durability, particularly in an era of strict power unit allocation limits. A single reliability failure can have cascading consequences across multiple races, something the Scuderia is determined to avoid. Despite these understandable precautions, there is a strong sense of satisfaction in Maranello, reinforced by recent comments from representatives at Cadillac and from Hosea. Team principal, their public remarks have underlined the solidity of the Ferrari power unit and the professionalism of the development approach, lending external validation to the internal assessments being made at the factory. Ferrari's gradual and methodical strategy is allowing its engineers to build an accurate and detailed map of how the power unit behaves under a wide range of operating conditions. This includes variations in ambient temperature, fuel load, electrical deployment patterns, and cooling requirements. By progressing step by step, the team is minimizing unnecessary risks that could compromise the later stages of the championship. This structured development path also provides valuable reference points ahead of the Bahrain tests, which are expected to represent the first truly representative benchmark of the season. The data gathered so far has increased confidence that the foundations of the project are solid, even if some performance parameters have yet to be fully explored. Although Mercedes has increasingly been portrayed as a technical benchmark, particularly because of the ongoing compression ratio controversy, Ferrari does not appear concerned about being compared to its German rivals. Within the Italian side, there is a clear belief that different technical philosophies can lead to similar performance outcomes, provided they are executed with precision and coherence. Ferrari has followed a distinct design direction, especially in areas such as cylinder head architecture and material selection. Rather than focusing on variable compression concepts, the Maranello engineers and technicians have aimed to maximize efficiency through alternative solutions, optimizing combustion stability, thermal management, and integration with the hybrid system. This divergence in approach is seen not as a limitation, but as a strength. By pursuing an independent path, Ferrari has avoided tying its competitive prospects to regulatory interpretations that may change. The team's confidence is rooted in the belief that its solutions are robust, scalable, and compliant with both the letter and the spirit of the regulations. This confidence allows Ferrari to observe developments surrounding the Mercedes situation with a sense of calm, without being influenced by scenarios that remain uncertain and difficult to predict. A potential rejection or restriction of the Brixworth system would undoubtedly represent a competitive boost for rival teams, but Ferrari has not built its project around the expectation of external advantages. Instead, the Scuderia has focused on constructing a power unit package that stands on its own technical merits. The philosophy has been to assume that all rivals will operate within the same regulatory boundaries and to aim for excellence within those constraints, rather than hoping for regulatory interventions to shift the competitive balance. This mindset reflects a broader cultural shift within Ferrari, emphasizing accountability, internal performance, and long-term sustainability over short-term opportunism. It is an approach designed to deliver consistent competitiveness rather than isolated peaks of performance. The path forward is clearly defined. Ferrari continues its structured approach toward the Bahrain tests, fully aware that this phase will provide the first meaningful opportunity to validate winter development work against direct competition. Bahrain's layout, with its combination of long straights, heavy braking zones, and traction-demanding corners, will place significant demands on both power unit efficiency and reliability. For Ferrari, the Bahrain preseason testing session represents not just a test of outright speed, but a comprehensive examination of the entire package, including cooling, energy management, and operational consistency. The team is confident that only sustained methodical work can deliver results over the long term, especially in a season expected to be defined by fine margins and relentless development races. Whatever the eventual FIA verdict on the Mercedes power unit may be, it will not alter the core principles underpinning Ferrari's project. The Scuderia remains committed to a development philosophy aimed at restoring the prancing horse to the top of Formula One through engineering excellence, strategic clarity, and unwavering focus on its own strengths.